Hello and welcome to this week's video. My name is Anuska Taylor. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, question to start with. Do you struggle to get your voice out? Do you feel like you have to work really hard? You have to put a lot of effort, a lot of energy, a lot of muscular effort, and there's maybe some forcing and straining and pushing to get your voice out? Or maybe you've just sort of given up trying to get your voice out and you've just been like, well, my voice is quiet. I just speak very weak. And that's just how it is. So I just rely on a mic. Now, either side of the coin, from my perspective, you are in some way trying to force your voice. But what I want to talk about today is your true voice is naturally powerful, clear, open, free, and expressive. And that comes from a place of power versus force. But we live in a world which is all about force, and I'm going to talk about this more as I go through the video. But stay tuned because I'm going to really unpack this, and you can apply this to anything, not just your voice. So before I get going, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And also, if you enjoy my videos, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, share them with your friends and family, leave me a comment. And if you're interested in working privately with me, there are many options below, from the signature private voice coaching program, Speak with Impact, if you really want the ultimate transformation, through to some self-paced DIY online courses. So to cover every budget. So I was inspired to do today's video because of a book by David Hawkins called Power versus Force. If you haven't read it, highly recommend it. Very, very interesting book. And so I'm applying some of what he talks about in that book as it relates to the voice and what I see with clients, but also what I have seen in my own voice. One of the hardest things I think people have to really get with their voice is the more you get out of your own way, the better it works. The more it opens, the more it's free, the more it's powerful, the more it amplifies. But as humans, particularly from this sort of ego consciousness, we always want to control, we want to manipulate, we want to micromanage, and that's where we really, really limit our voice. So a lot of the work, particularly with singers, because there's greater demands on a singing voice than a speaking voice, it's really about getting out of your own way. Because when we do, we really allow the instrument to function as it's designed to function. And your voice has incredible potential for dynamics, for range, for variety and expression, clarity, everything. It's all there, but you can't micromanage, control, and manipulate your way around it. So that's the big part of it, because as humans, we want to be in control of everything. And the voice is a very sort of abstract instrument because we can't see it. It's not like playing the piano or playing the guitar. You see this physical instrument. We can't see it. It's all happening within us. Okay, so let's talk about the difference between power versus force. And I'm going to start with force because I think actually this is predominantly, unfortunately, the world that we live in. And this is why I think it's so difficult, because as humans, we really are taught we have to try and control and micromanage and manipulate to get our needs met. And we learn this from children, so this is no judgment. I talked about this last week as it relates to public speaking anxiety. But we learn this, we learn how to get our needs met, and then we take this into adulthood. But it really hurts us accessing our full potential. So you can think about force then as very much a fear-based reality. So it's lack, it's limitation, it's scarcity, it's domination, control, manipulation, possession, attachment. And all of our sort of needs are outside of us. We've got to make stuff happen. We've got to get people to do something that we need them to do. And you just have to turn on the news and watch anything going on in the world at the moment to see this is how most of the world operates. It's all about, I've got to make stuff happen. I'm going to go to war if I'm not going to get my needs met. I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to be cruel or violent or whatever it is. It's all coming from that place. We might not be operating from that extreme, but in some way we're all conditioned that in order to feel safe and to get our needs met in the world, there is this idea of I need to control, micromanage, and manipulate my environment. And so the energy behind this, as I said, is fear-based, but there's a sort of almost like a grasping energy. There's a neediness. And this feeds into the voice. So when I talk about force, it's not just a physical force that you might physically feel like I've got to push my voice out, but it's an energetic grasping. It's an energetic neediness. And this can show up in different ways. So it might be, I need you to understand me. I need to get my point across. I need you to listen to me. I need you to hear me. I need you to like me. I need you to accept me. I need you to validate me. And essentially, we're trying to get something from other people. We're trying to get something from someone, which is very much the energy of the anxiety that drives public speaking. I need you to approve of me. I need you to accept me. I need you to agree with me. Otherwise, I don't feel safe. And it's very much a sort of one-way communication, because either what's going to happen is we're going to force our voice onto people, which we see in the political world. It's like, you will listen to me, you will do what I tell you to do. Or it can go the other way of almost like this learned helplessness. Well, I don't even know what to do, so I'm just not going to say anything. I'm just not even going to express myself, and I'm just going to shut my voice down. But either way, there is this energy of fear driving your voice. So as I said, it could be a physical feeling like you need to force your voice, but it could just be an energetic feeling of, I need to sort of force this. I need to get something. I need to get my needs met. Now, anytime we're trying to get something from other people, I'm sure you've all experienced this before, but the more we try and get our needs met, the more we kind of push it away, and the more we just create more of what we don't want. So it's really challenging because it's very, very subtle. And you have to really catch yourself, like, what's the energy behind my voice use? And you have to, this is why you have to really know yourself on a deep level, because the ego is going to protect this. The ego doesn't want you to go there. But it's really about coming back to, is fear driving my voice? Whether I'm forcing my voice onto people, whether there's this learned helplessness and I'm not even going to bother saying anything because no one listens to me anyway, there is still this fear-based sort of energy, which from this perspective is this forcing, is this grasping, is this neediness. And then we try and we try and we try, and then we just give up. And I say this, I mean, I have been there myself as well. Over the years, it's like you keep trying to get someone to listen to you, keep trying to get your point across, and people just ignore you, etc. We try, and then we just give up. Or, as I say, we might be the other side of the coin and be like, no, you're going to listen to me, whether you like it or not. Your voice is never going to function well from this place. So it will either feel strained, tired, tight, constricted from that sort of forced, almost grasping muscular energy. You're going to struggle with clarity. You're going to struggle with expression. You're going to struggle with amplification in the voice. Or you'll just find that your voice shuts down, as I say, because it's two sides of the same coin. So your voice is croaky, it's raspy, you pull the voice back into the throat, it's quiet. There's a lot of tension through your jaw or your neck. So it's two sides of the same coin. But however you cut the cake, your voice is limited. And you're never going to access the true potential of what's actually possible. And the underlying assumption with all of this is separation. So you really believe that the world is separate, that that's nothing to do with me. And so I have to go out into the world and make stuff happen. That's very much how we've all been conditioned, to make stuff happen. But this whole new way of viewing your voice is the audience, the people I'm talking to, we're all connected. I'm just seeing myself. So I don't need to go out and grasp and try and force and make people listen to me, because when we bring it back to ourselves, that's when we can really create the transformation, which brings me on to power. Now, I know that the word power can be very triggering for people, because I think often in our world, we do actually use power and force interchangeably. But I want you to start to view power very, very differently, particularly from an energetic perspective. It's very, very different. And power is more around an allowing, receiving, releasing, and opening. And it's very much about a connection. It's much more authentic. It's a two-way connection. And there's a real freedom in expressing yourself. You are not afraid to say what you really feel, what you really think, what you need. And your voice follows suit because you now don't have any brakes on your voice emotionally or physically. The voice just comes out because you are really owning your voice. This is where true authenticity lies because you're not seeking anything from anyone. You are filling your own cup first. So it's self-validating, it's authentic, and it's really a true empowerment. It's a true confidence because you're really seeing I'm connected to everything and everyone. And this was really a game changer for me as a performer, as a singer. When I started doing my own sort of individuation journey using the Jungian psychology methodology, when I started doing this and I was working with my coach on this and starting to see the audience was just a reflection of me. So the more I went within and really cultivated that groundedness, that calmness, that peace, that confidence from within, the more it would be reflected out within the audience, because the audience is always just going to reflect you. But again, we're not taught this. We're taught that we're separate and we've got to make stuff happen. And, they've done this to me and they're a bad person. But we're always seeing our own mind. And when you really get that and you bring the power back within, then your voice comes out. This is really then the key. It's cultivating that deeper connection to yourself. And as I said, I talked about this last week in my public speaking anxiety, sort of performance anxiety video, because this is the piece that's usually missed out. It's all about what practical things can I do? And yes, I need to practice. And yes, I need to do this. And yes, you do that. But it's more what's the energy behind that? Am I practicing so I can avoid being rejected and abandoned? Am I still trying to control? Or am I practicing because I want to give my voice the best possible chance of functioning? That I'm allowing this conditioning, I'm conditioning my voice to meet the demands of the situation. And that's really what we want. We still want to condition the voice. We just want to have conscious control over how we use that. And most of the time we're conditioned in a very unconscious way, and we're just sort of responding and reacting to life, versus I very intentionally condition my voice, recondition my voice, build strength, openness, freedom, and then I can meet the demands of the situation. I don't have to be in my head so much. I can drop into my body, connect to my heart, and express my truth. So it really is a journey into within. And that's why I say with my coaching, you have to go within to create the voice without. So here's a little exercise for you. The next time you are triggered or you feel some sort of emotion arising in you when you come to speak, so it could be anything. It could be a conversation with your boss, with your friend, with your partner, with a colleague. It could be literally anyone. I want you to start to see, first of all, that when your ego wants to blame that person or judge that person or criticize that person, I want you to sort of reclaim that projection and know that that person is just reflecting something within you. It's always been within you. They're just igniting it. So it's always been there. We can't make anyone feel anything without their permission. And we're not taught this. We are taught that people do things to us and make us feel things, but we get stuck. We get stuck in that energy of fear. So I want you to really start to see that you're always seeing your own mind. You are always seeing what you really feel and think about yourself. But when it doesn't make sense, it's just because it's not conscious. So the people that trigger you the most are your greatest gift. It might be uncomfortable to your ego, but they really are your greatest gift. So the first stage then is to see it as a gift, to see it as showing you something that you couldn't otherwise have seen. And then it's allowing yourself to feel whatever's showing up. Because in our modern world, we do everything in our power to distract, to run away, to avoid, to blame, to criticize. But in some way, I don't want to feel this. So I want you to go the opposite way. Feel the fear, feel the sadness, feel the anger, feel in your body. Where do you feel it? What physically happens in your body? And allow yourself to sit with it. Breathe deeply, feel into it. Don't get attached to the story around why you feel it. Just be with the feeling. Allow that energy to move, because it is just energy and it just needs to move. And this is really the first step in you reclaiming your power. Because then when you come to these situations in the future, whether you're public speaking, whether you're having a difficult conversation with a partner or a boss or a colleague or team member, you can be far more present and in your power and have a far easier conversation, a dialogue, a more authentic conversation, because you are not pushing everything out, projecting everything out onto other people. You're kind of owning it. And then actually you show up in your power, in your confidence, and your voice will follow suit. You know, your voice will function better because you're not trying to control and manipulate and micromanage your voice. So give that a go. I'd love to know in the comments how you go. It is a challenge. It goes against everything we're taught. So it will probably feel uncomfortable, but start to reclaim the power back. And that is the first stage, because when you are really solid in who you are, and the world out there is literally just a mirror to what's going on within, then you really do become unstoppable, and your voice can then start to open up in a really powerful way. But when you come from this place of separation and fear, the voice is going to shut down, or it's going to feel like it has to defend and push and force. But either way, your voice isn't free. So I hope that's been really helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.